Good afternoon. This is Akashvani and I am Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. G20 Ministerial Conference on Women's Empowerment begins in Gandhinagar. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says women-led development approach is most effective way of women's empowerment. Prime Minister to meet NDA MPs from Uttar Pradesh and southern states today. Lok Sabha adjourned till 2 p.m. due to continuous uproar over Manipur issue. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to chair GST Council meeting this evening. 116 people arrested in connection with violence in Haryana. Former US President Donald Trump indicted for conspiring to overturn his 2020 election defeat. And in cricket, first T20 International between India and West Indies to be played in Trinidad and Tobago tomorrow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that women-led development approach is the most effective way of women's empowerment. Addressing the inaugural session of the G20 Ministerial Meeting of Women's Empowerment in Gandhinagar, he called for removing barriers that restrict growth of women. Mr. Modi stressed the need for a level playing field for women in all sectors.
When women prosper, the world prospers. Their economic empowerment fuels growth. Their access to education drives global progress. Their leadership fosters inclusivity and their voices inspire positive change. The most effective way to empower women is through a women-led development approach. India is making strides in this direction.
The Prime Minister recalled the role contribution of women in the cooperative sector, especially in dairying. He called mobilization of women through self-help groups as a powerful force of change.
The mobilization of women into self-help groups has also been a powerful force for change. During the pandemic, these self-help groups and elected women representatives emerged as pillars of support for our communities. They manufactured masks and sanitizers as well as created awareness about infection prevention. More than 80% of nurses and midwives in India are women. They were our first line of defense during the pandemic, and we are proud of their achievements.
Reaffirming the government's commitment towards women-led development, Mr. Modi said more than 70% of loans under Mudra scheme have been sanctioned to women. He also talked about increased participation of women in the labor force right from governance, business, space and technology, and in armed forces.
Women in India have also been brand ambassadors for Mission Life, lifestyle for environment. They reduce, reuse, recycle and repurpose based on traditional wisdom. Under various initiatives, women are actively getting trained in making solar panels and lights. The solar mamas have been successful collaborators with our partner countries in the global south.
Union Minister for Women and Child Development Smriti Irani in an address lauded the role played by India's presidency of G20 for several dynamic outcomes, including the tech equity platform. She expressed the hope that women-led development will be central in all action-oriented commitments of the ministerial meeting. More than 150 delegates led by the respective heads of delegations from G20 members, invitee countries and international organizations are taking part in the meeting. On the sidelines of the conference, Chief Minister of Gujarat, Bhupendra Patel, inaugurated an exhibition on the theme India at 75, Contribution of Women, with a focus on women in crafts, nutrition, food, health, education, skilling, trade and economy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold meetings with groups of National Democratic Alliance NDA MPs today as part of the preparation for the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. Sources said Mr. Modi is scheduled to hold meetings with groups of NDA MPs from Kashi, Gorakhpur and Awadh region of Uttar Pradesh this evening. Home Minister Amit Shah and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will attend the meeting. The Prime Minister will also meet NDA MPs from Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala, Puducherry, Lakshadweep and Andaman and Nicobar Islands today. On Monday, Mr. Modi had held meetings with groups of NDA MPs from Western Uttar Pradesh, Bundelkhand and Breach region, and also with NDA MPs from West Bengal, Jharkhand and Odisha. The groups have been formed as part of efforts to bring more synergy to the poll efforts of NDA constituents. The Goods and Services Tax GST Council in its meeting today is likely to finalize the modalities for determination of supply value in online gaming and casinos for levying 28% tax. The council, chaired by Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and comprising state ministers in its last meeting on July 11th, approved levying 28% tax on full face value of bets in online gaming, casinos and horse racing. Subsequently, the law committee comprising centre and state tax officers have prepared draft rules for consideration of the GST Council with regard to the computation of supply value for tax purposes. The Council will discuss the committee's recommendations in a virtual meeting today. The All India Gaming Federation, which represents companies, had termed the decision by the GST Council as unconstitutional, irrational and egregious. Minister of State for Electronics and IT, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, has said the telecom sector is playing a big role in expanding digital economy and leading to a $5 trillion economy goal by 2026. Briefing media in New Delhi this morning, he said in India's decade, there exists ease of doing business and various reforms are being undertaken by the government. Today, mobile phones are being exported from India. He added that under the NDA, there is stability, positive sentiments, and investors are rapidly investing in India.
We are the fastest growing telecom connectivity nation in the world, the largest connected nation in the world. We have on multiple occasions auctioned spectrum, created licenses with absolute transparency, with absolute integrity. Every rupee that has been gained from the auction of spectrum has gone to the public exchequer and has been deployed in the expanded social spending schemes of the Government of India.
This is Akashvani giving you the news. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. The Lok Sabha has been adjourned till 2 p.m. due to opposition parties' protests over the issue of violence in Manipur. When the Lok Sabha met, members from the Congress, DMK, TMC, JDU and others trooped into the well, raising slogans. They were demanding Prime Minister Narendra Modi's statement in the House. Amid pandemonium, the presiding officer appealed to the protesting members to go back to their seats, but they continued with the protest. Amid ruckus, the presiding officer tried to run the question hour, but in vain. Later, the House was adjourned till 2 p.m. In the Rajya Sabha, when the House met for the day, Chairman Jagdeep Dhankar disallowed the adjournment notices moved by the opposition parties on the Manipur violence and other issues. Leader of the opposition, Mallikarjun Kharge, again demanded discussion on the issue and a statement of the Prime Minister on the matter. The chairman said the chair cannot give direction to the Prime Minister to come to the House as it is his prerogative. Dissatisfied opposition members, including from Congress, TMC, DMK, NCP, Left, Aam Aadmi Party and Samajwadi Party, staged a walkout from the House. Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi has said that the government is ready for discussion on all issues in Parliament, but the opposition is shying away from it. He was speaking to reporters outside Parliament today. Union Minister Arjun Ram Meghwal said the Rajya Sabha chairman has admitted notices for discussion on Manipur violence, but the opposition is making excuses by quoting rules and is not interested in the discussion. He informed that the Lok Sabha will discuss the National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Bill 2023 today.
जब ऑनरेबल चेयरमैन राज्यसभा ने ये कहा कि मैंने मणिपुर पे चर्चा का नोटिस एडमिट किया और चर्चा के लिए उन्होंने नाम पुकारा और हमारी तरफ से बोलने शुरू हुआ तो उन्होंने रूल का बहाना बना दिया। इसका मतलब वो बहाने बना रहे हैं, चर्चा नहीं चाहते हैं, नंबर 1। नंबर 2, आज वैसे भी लोकसभा में बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बिल दिल्ली टेरिटरी से संबंधित लगा हुआ है, तो उस बिल पे चर्चा आज लोकसभा में होगी। राज्यसभा में हमारे 3 बिल लगे हुए हैं।
Meanwhile, opposition leaders today met President Draupadi Murmu to seek her intervention in the Manipur issue. They submitted a memorandum on the situation in Manipur. The leaders requested President Murmu's intervention to establish peace and harmony in the state. News just in, the Lok Sabha has been adjourned for the day due to opposition parties' protests of the issue of violence in Manipur. Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal has said that 6 people have lost their lives during the violence in Nuh district. In a statement issued this morning, he said conspirators are being continuously identified. So far, a total of 116 people have been arrested and they will be sent on remand for further investigations. He said the situation in Nu and its surrounding areas is normal. He said security agencies have been put on alert. The Chief Minister said some incidents were reported from other parts of Haryana which were brought under control immediately. He appealed to citizens to maintain peace in the state. He said 30 units of Haryana police and 20 paramilitary forces from the centre are deployed, after which 14 units were sent to Nu, 3 to Palwal, 2 to Faridabad and 1 to Gurugram.
6 लोगों की मृत्यु हुई है, 2 होमगार्ड के लोग हैं, अनेकों घायल हुए हैं जो नल्लड़ हॉस्पिटल में, मेदांता अन्य अस्पतालों में दाखिल हैं जिनकी उपचार किया जा रहा है। पुलिस की 30 कंपनी हरियाणा की और 20 अन्य कंपनी जो केंद्रीय सुरक्षा बलों की हमको मिली थी, 14 जो कंपनीज हैं वो नू जिले में डिप्लॉय की गई हैं। अभी तक 116 लोग ये अरेस्ट हो चुके हैं, किसी को भी बख्शा नहीं जाएगा। मेरी जनता से अपील भी है कि वो लोग शांति बनाए रखें।
In Odisha, incessant rainfall has triggered a flood-like situation in several parts of Subarnapur and Keonjhar. Many places in the two districts have been cut off due to waterlogging and submersion of roads. The residents of Bir Maharajpur and Subarnapur have been severely affected as flood water has entered many low-lying villages. Bhubaneswar and neighbouring Cuttack are also experiencing heavy rainfall today. Meanwhile, the Indian Meteorological Department IMD warned of heavy rain in the next 48 hours as a well-marked low-pressure area in the Bay of Bengal intensified into a deep depression. In Jharkhand, the Met Department has predicted heavy to very heavy rainfall across the state for the next 2 days. According to the latest weather bulletin, the deep depression that formed over Bay of Bengal has moved at a speed of 20 km per hour northwestwards towards Jharkhand. Several parts of the state have been receiving fairly widespread rainfall since last evening. A yellow alert has been issued in the districts of West Singhbhum, Saraikela Khansawa, Simdega, Ranchi, Khoti and Lohardaga. Former US President Donald Trump has been criminally charged for a bid to overturn the 2020 election defeat. Federal prosecutors have charged him with conspiring to seize a second term after losing the 2020 election. In a 45-page indictment, Special Counsel Jake Smith of the Justice Department charged Trump with 4 felony counts, including conspiracy to defraud the United States and conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. The indictment also accused Trump of trying to exploit the violent January 6, 2021 assault on Congress to continue his effort to cling to power. The United States has completed a second round of random lottery selection for the much sought-after H-1B work visa for foreign guest workers, and the successful applicants have been notified. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services said that they have randomly selected a sufficient number of registrations projected as needed to reach the cap. All the successful applicants eligible for H-1B visas for the fiscal year beginning October 1st have been notified about it. In cricket, India will play the first of the 5-match 2020 International Series against West Indies at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy in Trinidad and Tobago tomorrow. The match will begin at 8 in the evening. The second match will be held at the Providence Stadium in Guyana on Sunday. The third match of the series will be played at the same venue on the 8th of this month. The last 2 matches will be played in the United States. The fourth match will be held on August 12th at the Central Broward Regional Park Stadium Turf Ground, Lauderhill, Florida, United States, and the fifth match of the series will be played on the 13th of this month at the same venue. After winning the Test Series 1-0, the men in blue registered 2-1 victory in the One Day International Series. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. G20 Ministerial Conference on Women's Empowerment begins in Gandhinagar. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says women-led development approach is most effective way of women's empowerment. Prime Minister to meet NDA MPs from Uttar Pradesh and southern states today. Lok Sabha adjourned for the day due to opposition parties' protest over Manipur issue. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to chair GST Council meeting this evening. 116 people arrested in connection with violence in Haryana. Former US President Donald Trump indicted for conspiring to overturn his 2020 election defeat. And in cricket, first T20 International between India and West Indies to be played in Trinidad and Tobago tomorrow. And with that, we end the midday news.